Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is brought to you by Chiro HD, Evo Creative Media, 100% Chiropractic, Chiro Health USA, Imaging Services, Chiro Moguls, New Patients in a Box, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, Pro Hockey Chiros, Pro Baseball Chiros, and the IFCO. You can benefit from our full list of sponsors by visiting our sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 572 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Schuster.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Michelle Massa. And if you want to hear a story about how teamwork makes the dream work, stay tuned for the full episode. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. Thanks for joining us today. I have Dr. Michelle Massa coming on with me from Florida, not California. We'll talk all about that. But before we jump into this episode, I let everybody know our big why. Why do we do what we do at Chiro Hustle? Well, first things first is freedom of speech. I think it's really important that we lock down this message of chiropractic and document it to where no one else can ever change the lexicon or the language around it. So that's my gift to you guys, documenting this profession by telling the story. Secondly, we believe in medical freedom and family health freedom. They're not the same things, but chiropractic is a very important component of that decision for you and your families. So if you're watching this and you're like, gosh, how's chiropractic fit into my life? Well, medical freedom, family health freedom, go see a chiropractor. After that, we get to a bit more roots of philosophy, and our show does protect the sacred trust. We do protect BJ Palmer's last words. If you don't know what that means, go and look for BJ Palmer's Sacred Trust. You're going to learn more about chiropractic than you previously did. I guarantee you. A little bit more philosophical. We do support subluxation-based chiropractic, innate intelligence, and universal intelligence. We believe that when man or woman, the physical gets adjusted, it connects them to man or woman, the spiritual. I know it's a lot of philosophy for people that don't know chiropractic, but for those of you that do know chiropractic, you should really support us and appreciate the work that stands for with this show. So with that being said, Dr. Michelle, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Anyone who knows Chiro Hustle, knows the movement and the force that it is, knows that your heart is just for chiropractic and for sharing chiropractic with the world. And for that, I thank you and I honor you for what you have given back to humanity and this profession. So thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's been a lot of, blood, sweat, and tears, as they say, when you do something that has your enthusiasm into it and like you believe in what you're doing. I think that it will give me longevity with life, doing something I love to do, and being in the chiropractic profession has been a lot of fun. I've learned so much. As we had a pre-interview chat, we had a chance to catch up on the past 3 years, but I know that that's something you wanted to focus on. You had a practice going in the Bay Area, and then now you're in another opposite side of a Bay Area, right? So from California to Florida.
Yes. So I wanted to check. Thank you for this opportunity too, because this is a great opportunity for me to come back and say hello to everyone. Because I was very active in the profession, and I know many of you. And I love being a chiropractor, and I love being active and an advocate for everything that happens within our profession.
Amen.
And I had taken a step back, and I just kind of disappeared for 2 years. And what had happened is that I was actually waiting to get on stage at Evoke, and I was up next to speak, and I had one of my mom's neighbors reach out to me, telling me that something was really wrong with my mom and I needed to come home as soon as possible. And so within 30 days of her having a second dose, she developed a severe, sudden onset of dementia that dementia is slowly progressing. So I came home thinking it was going to be for a month in December of 2021. And she was severe, immediately severe, and she needed a full-time caretaker. And so my life changed really quickly. And even though I had a business in California, my mom was severe in Florida, and I needed to just come home because I was taught that it's God, family, chiropractic. So I did need to put my practice on hold for a little bit. I kept it going, and I'm so thankful for everybody who helped with that. But ultimately, once my mom went into hospice, I decided to come home to Florida to close my practice. And it was tough. It was tough to see that even though I wasn't there and I couldn't give 100% to my practice, and California being California at that time, okay, it was still growing. My business was still growing. So that was hard. But I do not regret for a second, for a moment, sharing that time with my mom, because I was never going to get that time back. And I am so thankful that I could see her every single day until the day that she passed. And so my life changed as a result of that. I came back home to Florida. So I'm originally from South Florida, from Miami, Fort Lauderdale. What got me out to the Bay Area was Life Chiropractic College West. I graduated there 2007. And so then all of this happens, and I'm back in South Florida. I was in South Florida, and now I am practicing. I'm living in Jensen Beach. I went up to a small, quiet beach, and I am practicing in Port St. Lucie, Florida. And it's really great. I am enjoying taking this time for myself to heal my nervous system, because I was in such a high sympathetic state. I matured more than I ever thought I would. Like I'm an adult now. And for my family, who I am as a person, who I am as a doctor, how responsible I am, how I show up. I was tested beyond anything I ever thought that I would have been tested in. And I am proud of how I showed up in that moment, because there was no one watching me. It was just up to me. It was up to me to do what I needed to do as a human being, and as a mother, and as a child as well, and as a daughter. And I'm really thankful for the person that I became as a result of this experience. I'm still healing, and I'm enjoying this time surrounded by water, healing. But I can't wait to get back to all the conferences and seminars next year. You guys are going to see me a lot more online as well. And I'm really excited to dive back into Latin American Chiropractic Association and all the wonderful work we're going to do with that as well. So,
yeah, listening to like Life, I was just telling you, like, earlier, we had this pre-interview chat, and I was talking about how, like, I get to be curious to people, and I get to like find out and get them to like share their stories, because a lot of times, people don't get a stage to speak like this, and their friends, their family, their colleagues, their patients, they don't really know the person. And the person gets into chiropractic, and then it becomes chiropractic family God.
yeah.
we,
Yeah.
we remove the stack, and it inverts the stack where it should be God, family, chiropractic. And I think that as I've interviewed 1,200 chiropractors, that it is important to evolve and adapt within the profession. And I know one of the things that we were going to talk about today was how you evolved and adapted from life and the practice demographics of West Coast to life and the practice demographics of East Coast, and how that transition of practice. And I don't know, anything you want to share about that?
Yes, I would love to share that. So having had the experience, now remember, I grew up on the East Coast, but my entire chiropractic education and practice was all West Coast, was all California, and that West Coast culture of chiropractic, where it's very practitioner based, it's very art based. The art of chiropractic is really seeped into everyone's culture, and that's a lot of what you see, right? A lot of cash-based practice, not a lot of integrated practice, and the way people do business is different. So, not to say that there are zero integrated practices and zero high volume practices on the West Coast. However, you see a lot more celebration and encouragement and fostering of people having slower volume or lower volume practices with maybe a higher price point, or really charging for the art of what they do rather than seeing a higher volume at a lower price point and serving everyone. And so I was coming from that. I was in a boutique town where I was working on a lot of former athletes, tech executives, finance people that were really well-to-do, that also had the means to take care of their own bodies and be really fit and spend the money and invest in themselves and in the health of themselves and of their families. So that was one way to practice. And in that model, I did a lot of the other things myself. So I definitely, not that I'm an advocate for mixing. I'm going to call it that. I'm an advocate for mixing and doing all the things, because I think all the things definitely, why not? With the foundation, of course, being chiropractic. But I felt like I was busy doing a lot of things within that low volume model versus being in this new high volume model. Not really new, but it's a high volume model on the East Coast that's an integrated model. Now, I'm going to say this might not be a possibility for certain states. It just happens to be the dominant way that people do business here on the East Coast, or at least in Florida. So one of the things that's really different here in Florida is that you see a lot of multi-practices, a lot of integrated practices, a lot more than what you see on the West Coast. And you see a lot of insurance models out here still. So that's, really going strong. And people do business a lot differently. And here, I feel like there's a lot more emphasis on the business model or the brand of a certain group of practices, rather than emphasis on an individual practitioner and their individual art. So that's a little different here, right? And again, on the West Coast, you may or may not see this integrated model. But what I love right now in this model is that it's a PT Chiro integration where I don't really got to do anything, right? Like, does this soft tissue need something? Yeah, you got to go get a PT script. That's not up to me. I adjust. That's all I got to do. And I love it. I would say even physically, it's funny because physically, I thought it would be harder to see, more people in a week. Like, I thought physically I would be more drained by doing 40 people in a day versus 40 people in a week. But it's easier physically to just adjust, in my opinion, versus what it feels like to me is that it's more energetically draining to see that many visits per week, because it's that many encounters, and let's dive into now the demographic of person. Usually within a high volume model, at least the one I'm in right now, I'm seeing everyone and I'm serving everyone, right? So these are people that might not be willing to, they haven't integrated any changes at all. This is like the first time they're hearing about it. And, if it wasn't that this was like cheap or free, they probably wouldn't even be here, right? So it's a different demographic of person. However, here's the key moment. Pay attention if you were spaced out or you were looking at something else. This is what I have learned. Regardless of the demographic, regardless of whether this is a well-to-do, wealthy person that takes care of their body, or a lower income person that still smokes and drinks and lives this crazy, drug-filled lifestyle and following the medical model, all of that. At the end of the day, what we're looking for with each person is their commitment. That report of findings conversation is really, hey, do we both agree that this is where your health is at? And are we on the same page as to what it's going to take to get you to where your goals are? And how committed are you into engaging in this? Because what I found is that whether or not people prepaid thousands of dollars for their care, or whether they're getting their care free from the state, it doesn't matter. They'll still flake on you if they want to. If they're not invested, or there has been a miscommunication in the agreement as to how invested both parties are, then it falls apart either way. So that's what I have found going from West Coast to East Coast, going from low volume to high volume. And I'm still learning with it. I'm still growing with it. But that has been my experience.
You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Chiro HD, Evo Creative Media, 100% Chiropractic, Chiro Health USA, Imaging Services, Chiro Moguls, New Patients in a Box, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, Pro Hockey Chiros, Pro Baseball Chiros, and the IFCO. Well, a lot of things came up for me while you were talking about that, and I just kept on making notes. And chiropractic is a service-based industry. And like you said, there's people that, they need the joint,
Right.
or they need a corrective care CBP office, or they need a network doc, or they need neuroemotional technique, NET. Like there's all layers of what a person can need. Exactly. I gave a talk 5 years ago now in Boulder for the Mile High group, and it's a small room. There's probably like 30 practitioners in there. But I said, hey, if I come and see each one of you, you guys are going to do a different intake on me.
Right.
And I was like, each one of you has your own art to stand up for what you were saying earlier. And I was like, each one of you has your own analysis and your own path to correcting a vertebral subluxation. I was like, each one of you does it a little different. So if I came to all of you, you would all present to me whatever your day one was. If you shoot x-rays, you'd take them. On day two, you'd tell me what you saw on them. And then you would tell me how you could help me. Or you don't shoot them at all. You say, you're going to come in when you need me. And we have a commitment that when you need a chiropractor, you'll just call me when you're ready. Or you have insurance. We're going to give you just as much care as the insurance will pay for. And then you're cut free and I won't see you ever again. So thank you. So there's all these different things that I learned. And we really have to learn to respect the profession.
Yeah. At the end of the day, chiropractic's chiropractic. How can we help you? How can we serve you? And I love your hat. I'm just going to throw it out there. Like, how can I be a hope dealer? I actually say this to my staff every day. Listen, I don't care how bad of a day you're having. Our patients are probably having a worse day. So at work, our job is to show up and give them hope. Yeah. And just be that hope dealer every single day. So chiropractic's chiropractic. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. And here's one thing, working within an integrated model. I was talking about this over the weekend when I was visiting a chiropractic friend of mine. The big difference between a manipulation from a physical therapist and a chiropractic adjustment is that anyone who has ever been to chiropractic college, even for one quarter, understands that that is an interaction. It is a moment in time. It is an encounter. It is an experience. It's not just get in there and that's that. The healing comes from that conversation, from that interaction, from the touch, from the setup, from the delivery, what happens afterwards. All of that is the adjustment. That's where the healing comes from.
Well, I like how you said earlier about commitment. And the conversation has to go towards commitment. And that's like you saying, sometimes you need to restoke the fire with your team. And teamwork does make the dream work. And sometimes you have to get the mission for what you're doing as a business to commit. Sometimes it's you need to get the person in front of you to commit. There's a lot that goes into the chiropractic business. And that's what I was saying. It's unity through diversity. You guys all have to start accepting each other. Oh, yeah. You guys should all take each other to lunch. You guys should take a chiro to lunch every week in your community and get to make some friends.
Oh, definitely.
I made a post in the Massa County chiropractic page where I live. I said, hey, who wants to go grab coffee or grab something to eat? And I have 3 get-togethers this week with nice. Chiropractors in Massa County because community matters to me.
Yes.
And I think you've always heard the analogy, a chiropractor lives on an island. Well, that's another beautiful thing about having somebody inside of your office that will do the PT. I think that the guy I went to dinner last night, chiropractor, he's like, so what does chiropractic mean to you? I was like, oof, what a big question that should be easy to answer.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
I said, well, it's not up to me. It doesn't determine what I think it is. It determines on what the market's doing with it.
From your perspective, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm not a chiropractor, so I don't have like the
Mhm.
same approach as somebody that's inside the office delivering chiropractic services.
Right. Yeah.
Joseph Ivy says, hi, Michelle.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for thanks for tuning in.
I love Joe. Ever since I met the guy, he's been super supportive of
That's
Chiro
my Life
Hustle.
West fam. Hey.
Love the dude. So let's just talk 2020, 2023. How has the game changed? What have you what have you seen?
Oof. Okay. So I'm just going to, this is again my opinion and just what I've seen. So I graduated in 2007. I'm coming up on 16 years of being a chiropractor.
Pretty
So this
cool.
is my perspective as someone who's been out for
Congratulations.
16 years. What I'm seeing from when, when I got out in the world, it was actually the recession. It was 2008, basically, is when I started practicing, and then coming up on 2020 to 2023, the game has definitely changed. I'm seeing a lot of big fish eat little fish in all of industries, but even within chiropractic. So practitioners that have the means to absorb another practice that might not be performing, but still has a lot of good potential. I'm seeing a lot of that. I'm seeing that trend, and I think that it's something that can work and can keep chiropractic going because that's really what we need. So I'm seeing that. I'm seeing things change also within chiropractic education. I'm really big on education. And really, I think a lot of not even downsizing necessarily, but we've really finally, I think, made that integration into how education looks differently. And we were having those conversations pre-pandemic. How can we talk to Gen Z in a way that they're learning and engaging in this new way? And now with the pandemic, we were kind of forced into that. So I'm seeing a lot more of that. And I think that that's really great too, so that we can really continue to communicate chiropractic to the next generation. One of the biggest things that happened in the past 3 years is that everybody's online and everybody has a message. So let's really put chiropractic out there. And sometimes, I get it. Sometimes it almost feels like, why do I keep talking about chiropractic? Right? Maybe as a chiropractor, my gimmick should be something else that's some other healing thing or some other thing that's not chiropractic, but like put out chiropractic, because so many people still don't know what chiropractic is. So many people still don't know what a chiropractic adjustment is, other than the crack that they see on the shows. And I'm guilty. I put that stuff out there too. I used to do it actually ironically at first, but now like it's kind of funny and fun to go out there. But the thing is, there's tons of adjustments that I deliver all week that are not manual audible adjustments. And I do all kinds of modifications. So it's really about explaining to everybody what chiropractic is, what it does, what a true chiropractic adjustment is, and what it does for your body, how it changes your life, and putting that education out there all on that social media. So I think that one of the best things that has happened is that all of us have an opportunity to keep sharing about chiropractic within our communities, because everybody's online. I'm not seeing a ton of talks, even within Florida here. Things generally a little more open and whatnot. It's still a little touch and go with those things. Events are still a little touch and go. I mean, they're there, they're coming back, but it's still a lot to invest for what you're getting back. So drive people to your events. That's really the ticket, not just, online and word of mouth. It's like all of these events are like parties. Some people, it's not that they're even afraid to get out. They just got lazy. And some of them are overweight and they don't feel good about themselves. They don't even want to see people, but they got to start getting out of the house.
And here's the deal: how to win. Everybody wants to be invited.
Yeah, everybody wants to be invited. Yes.
You just got to ask people.
Yes, I love that. It's true. So true.
Like, and you invite people in, they're like, oh, I've been by myself. I've been isolated.
Yeah.
And then you're like, just come on over, hang out. You're invited. Like, people want that now. They want more community. They want more inclusion. And that's, I was listening to Rogan interview this guy last night about archaeology. And I'm like, what am I going to learn from this? But he's like, really, we don't need more leaders. We need more organization. We need more cooperation.
Yeah.
So when you get organized and you invite people in, they just want to be a part of your community now. So, 572 podcasts. We've built a community.
Yeah.
We invite people in. We
Yeah.
allow people a safe space. I can't tell you how many times I finish an interview and somebody's just like, wow. Like, this is after I hit the stop button. They're like, wow, I never knew that my life was that interesting. Or, wow, you made me feel so comfortable. Like, I felt like I was just talking to you, and now I know thousands of people are going to listen to this show. Like, how many future chiropractors are going to start
Yes.
because of these messages? How many people are going to find this that don't know what chiropractic is, and they listen to 572 and they're like, whoa, that's enlightening. Now I learned something. And when people say, you know what I say, you know what I mean? People say that stuff. I never say that, but people say, you know what I mean? Well, people don't know what you mean when you talk about chiropractic.
Yeah.
They don't know what you mean. Like, we have to invite them in. We have to culture them. We have to integrate with them. We have to say, hey, I don't know what's going on in your body, but I guarantee if we get you adjusted, we can help you.
Things will get better.
They do get better. They do get better. And then they're like, you do that first adjustment and you like light them up, and they're like, whoa, I didn't expect that.
It's the best feeling in the world.
And I think that's where we're at today with the cultural conversation of 2020 to 2023. People want to be invited in.
Yes, definitely. I love that. They want to be invited in. They want to be included.
Yeah, and then they want to get adjusted.
Yeah,
and then they
I
want to
invite
get
people in for an adjustment all the time.
And then they want to adjust. They want to get their kids adjusted, and then they want to get their person in their life. Yeah, their mom and dad. They want to get them in.
I always look at it, from marketing perspective. I always say, just try to penetrate the friend group. What friend group are you penetrating right now? Their friend group, their whole family, and everybody in that friend group's family. You do that, you can build your practice on like 5 key families and all of who they know,
Yeah, and it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't. It just takes really committed people, and that was the word you used earlier, is commitment. So future pace. I know this is something that I know you're kind of excited to talk about, and I know we have about 5 minutes left. So 20 years from now, where's the position of chiropractic with what we're doing today?
So I don't know. I can't speak for all of chiropractic, because chiropractic is so large and there's so many wonderful things happening throughout the United States and internationally with chiropractic. But my piece within chiropractic, as the founder of Latin American Chiropractic Association, I would love to see in the next 20 years a community clinic that serves the Spanish-speaking community that is located in key areas where this is a need. So South Miami, different rural areas throughout the United States, in conjunction and working with chiropractic colleges, so that we can finally, I've always been a big advocate for a residency program, integrating a residency program into some of these chiropractic college programs, having postceptorships so students can also practice their Spanish skills as well as serve the community, and really bring a service to an underserved community. This has been a need for so many years. And having been an administrator at Life Chiropractic College at their health center, as well as serving the community that I'm serving currently in Port St. Lucie, I just have this huge heart for serving underserved communities and really bringing the gift of chiropractic and changing people's lives by changing their health. And how can I not just do that just myself as one individual chiropractor, but how can I create clinics that are going to work in conjunction with chiropractic education? That's something really close to my heart, so that we can create these amazing chiropractors that are leaving chiropractic college with a heart for service, because that's why you do this. You do not stay a chiropractor if you do not have a heart for service, because this job is hard. And being a chiropractor is hard. And helping people every single day is hard. But you do it because in that space and time, when you enter that adjusting moment with another human being, and they are broken and they are scared and they are hurting, and they are putting 100% trust in you to heal them in that one moment, and that magic happens. That chiropractic adjustment is just boom. It happens, and both of you feel that energy rush. That's what chiropractic is. That's what a chiropractic adjustment does. And that's why we do what we do every day.
20 years from now, I'm excited to see it. Hopefully it comes a little bit quicker. Unity through diversity, everybody does a little bit different. I would like to see more community-based clinics. I think that that's a real gateway for people. It probably really curbs some of the opiate addictions that we're dealing with right now, and probably be a safe haven for a lot of people that don't know where to go or who to trust. That's why my marketing efforts work, because I tell people that when they talk to me, I go, the reason you're here talking to me today is because, number one, you don't know where to go. You don't know who to trust. And I'm here to tell you I can help you. And I think that that's a big difference. Once again, inviting people in. But I do think that if you could start to bridge impassioned young chiropractors into the community, they would have a deeper sense of reverence for the heart of service. And I do think that if you bridge the universities out into the community and offer a safe place for people to come, I think that that is a much needed thing and a much needed resource. So I think that those are really, really powerful ideas moving forward with chiropractic. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you're hoping to share with us today?
No, I loved our conversation. This was amazing. Thank you for having me.
If people want to get in touch with you, if they want to work with you, if they want to learn from you, if they want to join the Association of Latino Chiropractors, where do we send these people to?
Okay, so you can find the Latin American Chiropractic Association free group. Join that group. You can follow us on Instagram at Latin American Chiro. You can follow me on Instagram at Your Fave Chiro. And hey, on Facebook, you guys, most of you guys are my Facebook friends. I know you are. So if we're not, go ahead and request me and I will add you into my fun little world of social media.
Well, cool. So if you guys are wanting to learn more or connect with Michelle, find her on Facebook, Instagram, join her free group, the Association of Latino Chiropractors, I think, the free group. And I just want to thank you for being episode 572 of the Chiro Hustle podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Hopefully people are going to, that are watching now, just hit the share button. Some more people see this episode. If you guys
tell me that you watched it on replay, show me some love.
Yeah, Facebook is not the most friendly resource for Chiro Hustle as of the past 3 years, but we keep producing.
It's coming back. We're all gonna just come back on Facebook. We're coming back on the socials. We're coming back to life, and we're gonna keep dealing that hope and spreading the message of how to live this amazing life through chiropractic.
Well, I really appreciate the positivity, and I know that a lot of people that are watching and listening to this appreciate it too. And chiropractic's not going anywhere, guys. It's 127 years young, and we're just going to keep on doing our best over here. BJ Palmer always used to say, I love you because you love what I love, and that's chiropractic. And what I always say when I close out a show is, you're just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks, Dr. Michelle.
Nice. Thank you.
All right. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.